to Colleen in the chat pod on her recent promotion to Associate Executive Director and really recognizing the contributions she makes all across ITE. So pleased to have Colleen with me today, as well as Adam Allen is going to join. Adam's going to talk about Leadership ITE and some exciting developments with that program. So our agenda, I'm going to do a little bit of ITE update on a number of topics. Colleen will talk about one ITE. We'll both give you some insight into our virtual annual meeting. Colleen's going to talk a little bit about activities and engagement at the section level. As I said, Adam will talk about Leadership ITE. We'll highlight our new IT membership video and some upcoming meetings, and then certainly plenty of time for Q&A. So a lot to cover, but we're going to move through it all pretty quickly. So if you've got questions, feel free to type them in the chat pod, or we'll take them as we get further down the road. So a few updates that I want to walk through. I want to talk a little bit about the recent statement we issued on social injustice and equality. We want to highlight a reopening of our office, highlight some of the COVID-19 resources that are out there, including our virtual drop-in sessions, and then just spotlight a couple technical updates. So hopefully you've seen the statement we issued, I think it was Thursday last week, on social injustice and inequality. And, you know, this was led by Alyssa Rodriguez, our International Vice President and co-chair of our Committee on Diversity and Inclusion. And it really kind of builds off of the work that she's been doing with her committee in the last year or two, looking at how we can create a more diverse and more inclusive transportation profession, and certainly ITE. So I hope you took the time to read it. I would encourage you, if you haven't, to take a look at it, because obviously a very important topic, and I think a important statement from ITE on the subject. We have a number of resources that are out there for you today and more coming. So I would ask you maybe to go back and look at that February ITE journal on equity and listen to our February podcast on equity by Tamika Butler from Tool Design. I think they were important when we published them. I think they're even more important and relevant and timely now. At our annual meeting, Alyssa will be chairing a panel that Tamika will be part of that will look at the equity issue in more detail. And one of our workshops will be led by the Diversity and Inclusion Committee during the annual meeting. And then finally, I just wanted to highlight our Diversity Scholars Program. You know, this is I think an important opportunity for ITE to address diversity in our profession. We will have some announcements coming up on some significant corporate donations, but we're also encouraging our district sections and chapters to be contributors, and a number have stepped up, most recently the Southern District. So I want to give a shout out to the Southern District for their leadership and willingness to step up and join the Florida Puerto Rico District, the Northeastern District, and a number of sections that have contributed. So I ask you to take a look at that. Let's see, next slide. Our response to COVID-19. We've talked about this before. You know, I just want to highlight a few things. We have our resource page. We continue to add resources in the 4 categories you see there. There are new resources added all the time. Encourage you to check it out regularly. We've done a number of deeper dives. We did our podcast on the future of transit with Paul Skatelis from American Public Transit Association, looking at kind of where do we go from here with transit. We did a Learning Hub webinar that featured 3 cities that have been leaders in open streets: Oakland, California, Calgary, and Burlington, Vermont. And we have a working group that Randy McCord, our international president, is leading, with a number of experts looking at traffic counting considerations and how we deal with traffic counting in this environment. And we expect a white paper to be available within a month or so on that topic. I'll talk more about the virtual drop-ins and the annual meeting as we go forward in the slide. So for more information, you can always go to that. I said our resource center, and you see the link on the screen here. So our drop-ins, I wanted to highlight these because they become a great way for members to engage other members on a specific topic. And it's a very unstructured format. The way it's set up, if you haven't participated in one, they're 30 minutes long. There's a convener. It's not even really a presenter, but a convener that kind of kicks things off. They might present a little information, and might present some questions they have, an issue they want to talk about. You don't have to be an expert to be a convener. And so we would encourage people from all across ITE to convene sessions on topics that they're interested in. And then it's just kind of a back and forth. We record it, and so it's available for folks that might not be able to listen in real time. We're doing them every Tuesday and Thursday at 3. And we've tried to limit them to typically 20, 25, 30 people, but where there's really strong interest in a topic, I think last Thursday we had like 75 people that wanted to talk about art and crosswalks and intersections, and had a great discussion on that. So we let everybody kind of come on in and have that discussion. So, you know, it would encourage you to be involved and to be engaged in that. Next slide. On the technical side, just a couple highlights. We have a big data analytics series of discussions that have been going on. We have completed 5 sessions, and these really took the place of discussions that the coordinating council leadership was going to hold at the district meetings. Unfortunately, with the inability to do that, we went ahead and had standalone discussions, and Jason Crawford and Eric Rensel did a great job, along with others, of convening these sessions. I think we had over 400 participants, lots of good feedback. So we were using it as kind of a listening session, a little bit of education, a lot of listening to understand what do IT members need in these areas. A lot of interest in case studies, a lot of interest in getting peer input on different data sources, data providers, and applications of that data. So that was great insight. Recordings are available from those sessions. We'll be having a workshop at the annual meeting that will try to pull together this discussion and really nail down some future topics and issues that we'll be working on. And then our industry council has been working on updating a legacy procurement guide that's been out there a number of years ago, and bringing it forward to today's environment, and really help particularly public jurisdictions think about how to procure a variety of products from the private sector. Good guidance on doing that, some considerations, those kinds of things. That guide is just about done. We expect it to be wrapped up here in June and available to membership in July. So I think it's—
Hey, Jeff, before we, yeah, but before we go on, we did get one question that I think we can answer now, and it was, why did we, a professional organization, feel the need to make a statement on social injustice?
And it's really a statement on social justice, to be clear, and equality. That's the official title of our statement on justice and equality. I think if you look at our profession and you think about what we do, our impact on our communities is profound. And the decisions that we're involved with, advising on, making, working on, I think shape our communities. That's something that Randy McCord has used, and I think it takes on new meaning today when we talk about shape your community. And in that context, I don't know how ITE could not make a statement about the important role we play and the importance of thinking about equity and equality as we make those decisions, as we engage with the public. I mean, one thing about being a civil engineer, particularly being a transportation engineer or a transportation planner or a transportation professional, is the way that we interact with the public, and the way that we are the face of our organizations at times with that public, the face of public investment and public decisions that are made on behalf of the public. And I think it's critical that we be clear what our intentions are and what our approach is in delivering transportation. So I thought it was totally appropriate that the executive committee took this leadership approach and stepped forward in making this statement. And just to go a bit further, it also is a statement about ITE and who we want to be as an organization, and the diversity we want within our organization. And we want to look like our profession. We want to look like our society. And we're not there if you look across our ranks. We have some some work to do in terms of bringing in the full diversity and richness that exists in our society and our profession. That's why we have the leadership that Alyssa is bringing in the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. It's why we have things like the Diversity Scholars Program. So I'm proud of ITE's efforts in this area. As I said, the work we had been doing as represented by the work we put out in February and the work we will continue to do, I think, going forward.
Great. Hi, everybody. This is Colleen. I was going to go ahead and provide a little update on the One ITE initiative. So the big kind of looming piece that's going to be coming up here is the July 1 deadline for the section charters and bylaws. And I'm pretty sure I've spoken to certainly all of the districts. Everybody is in process. I would definitely ask if you are running into any roadblocks, if you are getting any questions related to specific articles or sections within those bylaws, to definitely send them my way. We have some people on a committee who review all of those questions and provide feedback. So I know, for example, I have, I think, 2 or 3 questions from the Southern District section bylaws that I need to get back out to you all. But just so you know, if there are questions, if there are issues, definitely contact me, send me those, and we can work through those questions together. But the deadline again is July 1st to get those approved documents to me, so that then the board can go through the process of approving them as well at the July board meetings. The second piece I wanted to talk about is the chapter affiliates. So like we did last year with the section affiliates, we are running a program for the chapter affiliates this year for them to be able to join ITE at the rate of just the chapter dues. So we have added just about 200 chapter affiliates as members so far this year. And we do continue to add some, so the promotion is not done. If you are working within a district or section that has a chapter that has kind of fallen through the cracks, definitely let me know. We can work with them to make sure that their chapter affiliates are taken care of. The one thing that I would ask, and it's kind of a help kind of checking up on this, is that, across all of the chapters and sections, please make sure that you are no longer advertising the ability to join ITE as an affiliate directly at the chapter level. I think we had seen that through one of the districts. It was an older website. I'm not sure there was a lot of activity at the chapter level, but we just want to make sure that across the board, all joining of ITE is done through ITE International, and there's no longer any affiliate membership out there. The third piece I wanted to mention is something that I know Randy McCourt has been reaching out to you all about, and it's about trying to get this logo, the ITE calendar logo, onto your websites and linking it directly with the ITE International events calendar. And so what that does is it just helps to link certainly our websites together. But we've really gone through this effort to try and get information from you all, and I continue to encourage all of you to send us your event information so we can put it on our kind of consolidated calendar, so that anybody who comes to your website or to the ITE website can really see all of the activity across all of international, the district sections and chapters that's going on right now. And I will say right now, because of everything that's going on virtually and how many events that ITE is helping to host, that calendar is pretty robust, and there's a lot of good information and a lot of free opportunities for people to participate in an ITE event.
So we wanted to take a minute and highlight the annual meeting. And I would start by saying, thanks to the Southern District and thanks to the local arrangements committee that had been doing so much work, with us to prepare for the meeting in New Orleans. And I know we're all disappointed that, we won't be able to take full advantage of that work by being together in New Orleans and, visiting that wonderful city. We will be going there, even though we're not going there in 2020, we will be going there in 2022. So when we had to move to a virtual meeting, we worked with the hotel to return to New Orleans in 2022. As a reminder, our 2021 annual meeting will be in Portland, Oregon, joint with the Western and the Mountain District. But we tried to take the opportunity and say, okay, if we can't be together in person, let's think about and let's reimagine what this meeting can be like for our members. And so we didn't just put together a virtual meeting in the same footprint. What we tried to do is to craft it in a way that is most accessible and consumable, hopefully, by the most number of members. So what we have done is we have put the meeting on Tuesdays through Thursdays in August for the first 3 weeks in August. And we've done it in a time zone friendly way, hopefully, at least for North America, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern time each day and finishing at about 5:30 with the technical parts of the program. There'll be a little bit of social activity that'll go to about 6:30, I think, on a number of the days. So we took the same great content we already had set up to be delivered in New Orleans, and we've added to it. We've added some COVID information to it. We've added some more equity information. We've added our opening keynote speaker is a futurist that we had already had scheduled that will now look at the future in light of the events going on today. I think his presentation will be particularly interesting. So the first 2 weeks, the 4th through the 6th and the 11th through the 13th will be the sort of the technical part of the program. We'll have plenary sessions, technical sessions, poster sessions. We'll have workshops during those 2 weeks. The third week is when we're going to have our council and committee meetings. So it'll be a great opportunity by separating those to have more people be involved in going to a technical council meeting or a working group or a committee meeting. And so we encourage you to participate as you can across those 3-week period. We're going to have an exhibitor showcase that will be going on through the month of August, and that exhibitor showcase will be open to all ITE members regardless as to whether they register for the annual meeting or not. So we appreciate those exhibitors that are sticking with us and going to be exhibitors and sponsors as part of this meeting, as they've had to transition from kind of the physical exhibit that they normally would expect to a virtual one. We think this is a great deal. $199 early registration rate that's open now through July 1st. That covers over 30 live sessions. You'll have access to recordings from all the sessions. So if you need PDHs, you can get up to 67 PDHs, I think we counted. The recordings will be available from the meeting through the end of October. So there'll be about a 3-month window of being able to access and utilize those recordings. And you can register, by the full conference, but there's also by week or by day opportunities as well. Colleen, I think you're going to give them a little bit more about the meeting, right?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about some ways we can kind of work together related to the annual meeting. And the first item is really about asking you all to help us promote the meeting. So I will be following up after this call with some more information on this, but I do think it would be just a really kind of powerful display of the One IT initiative if we can kind of all get behind the virtual annual meeting, collect all of your logos, kind of have you all as a part of the meeting and helping us as promotional sponsors. We just actually got a question from somebody about having the image with a transparent background, and yes, we can provide you that information, and we'll also provide you some other promotional marketing materials that we can that we would ask you to send out to all of your members and non-members to encourage participation. One of the other items that we'll be following up with all of our districts is giving you all the opportunity to host a social event in the evenings. So we have 4 evenings that we've kind of set aside specifically for district social events. And those are going to be open to whatever it is the district would like to host, whether it be a trivia game, a happy hour, you know, some sort of luau night, whatever it is. But we will certainly, you know, help you with that, but ask that you kind of host that social event. And again, I'll be sending that information out for those districts that would be interested in hosting something. We do feel like, you know, with so many of the district and section meetings that were canceled, that it would be really nice for each of the districts to have an opportunity to get their members together, especially in kind of a casual format, and to have fun. So we're excited about being able to help you kind of have those events. The third piece I wanted to talk to you about real quick, and again, you will get some more information on this too, is that the Younger Member Committee will be hosting a focus group in that 3rd week of the meeting. And it's going to be specifically related to younger member activities at the district and section level. And so one of their initiatives as a committee is to begin to develop kind of this young ITE group that really helps connect younger members, not only at the section or district level, but also across all of the sections and districts. And so part of that is they want to get together with some either young members who are already involved in a younger member committee, or those individuals who are interested in being a part of a younger member committee at the section or district level, to begin to understand what activities are already going on and what activities we can be doing, and then how we connect one another across all of the entities. As you all know, you know, there's been a number of emails and communications related to activities engagement at the section level. I do want to encourage all of you to consider hosting a webinar, possibly partnering with another section to host an event, certainly making sure that you are communicating with your members. I think this time more than any other, it's important not to go kind of silent on your members. It's really important to make sure that they see that there is information and activity that you're sharing with them. If any of you are interested in hosting something and you're a little unsure, or you need some assistance, especially with the webinar platform, we have hosted a number of events so far for our district sections and chapters. We do continue to see high participation levels at 50% to you know, double what typical attendance is. And those numbers have held pretty steady since the beginning of kind of the stay-at-home orders that were put out in mid-March. You know, one of the things we also encourage you to think about is looking outside of your section or even your district for speakers. And I know the ITE Executive Committee has had an opportunity to speak at a number of events that typically they would not. It's also a great opportunity to try and kind of find experts in fields, you know, outside of your area, and they very well may be able to speak at your event and bring kind of a broader perspective. I am going to hand this over to Adam Allen right now, and he's going to give an update on the Leadership ITE program. It looks good, Adam.
I was on mute. Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for letting me take a couple minutes here and talk to you about Leadership ITE. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the program. We've been around since 2014, and we've helped to identify, develop, and engage leaders throughout our industry. Currently, with just about over 140 alumni, our program is proven, and our leaders, as evident by the people on this call, are scattered throughout the leadership ranks of ITE, not only at the district, section, and chapter levels, but also as in the committees and the councils as well. So the reason I wanted to talk to you today, we owe a ton to the districts, sections, and chapters. You've partnered with us and supported our program since the beginning, and we would not be where we are today without that support. So we did want to kind of give you a quick update on what's going on with Leadership IT and where we're headed. So first, we'll start with 2020. Obviously, we've all been challenged by the events of COVID. We did start the new class in January in Washington, D.C. It was a great event. It was our first event with our new facilitator, Shelly Rowe. The class is once again amazing. Then for our second in-person session, things kind of got derailed, and we had to replace our in-person session with a virtual workshop in April. And one of the funny things about this is it really opened our eyes to the possibilities of virtual programming. It was extremely engaging. There was a lot of opportunities to meet in small groups. We had separate rooms available for people. So we really started to rethink the ability to do our program remotely. And then obviously, once the annual meeting was canceled, we had to take a hard look at the overall program in general. So moving forward for the class of 2020, which I know all of you here have, most of you have supported candidates and whatnot. It is moving to a virtual format. There'll be a series of 7 virtual modules that have been completely, revamped and looked at, and are really focused on engagement and interaction. There's, for example, our students got a box over the weekend with a bunch of interactive toys, props, things that they'll open each session. It was kind of a fun thing that we're doing. Also, there's an enhanced effort on networking and social elements. So the alumni is going to get involved in really, reaching out and helping to kind of keep the networking part of this going. The team projects are still continuing on, and it's all going to come to a culmination on the 28th with the formal project presentations and graduation. So 2020, we've had our challenges, but I think the committee has circled the wagons here and came up with a really powerful idea. And with that, we also had to have an eye on the future. And myself and Jeff and Kathy and a bunch of us got together over a few meetings and tried to figure out what Leadership IT is going to look like in 2020 and what we can do. And we're pretty fired up to announce that in 2020, it's going to be a completely virtual experience. It's going to be a one-of-a-kind experience where you're going to get the same transportation and leadership program that you're used to without the financial and time constraints to travel. We're really excited about this. We think our program, which has been built on diversity and inclusion from the start, can even be more inclusive with this. People that maybe have not been able to do it for restrictions on travel and time, being away from their families, can now potentially do this, participate in our program. So we fully rebuilt the program. Shelly has been amazing. We've really focused on making it experiential and having that interaction, and we're excited to kind of provide this same powerful program that can better support everyone's personal and professional life. So with that, I just want to leave you with a couple things. One, without the travel, your support from a section, district, chapter level is going to go much further this year. So we hope that you continue to support your candidates. And then also, one thing that we're thinking about, I know on the Northeastern district level, we've talked about this, and I know it's something that Randy and Jeff have talked about. We'd like to implement a program, especially at the district level, potentially at the section level, where your incoming officers would get their full tuition covered by the district. We feel this has value, obviously, to the district by providing your candidates, that training that they need to better lead, and also it makes the position a little more attractive. It gets better candidates in there that maybe can see value. So with all that, applications are due September 16th, and the website has been completely updated. So if anyone has any questions, you can go there for more information, or you could reach out to me at any time. Thank you.
Well, thanks very much, Adam. We appreciate leadership you and Keith Hall have been providing for the program, and certainly the work that Shelley's been doing, and Kathy Driggs, who has been supporting the program, from ITE side. It's been a challenging year, no doubt about it, as we've tried to react to the events and replan the program for 2020. And I think you all have done a great job of ensuring that the folks that are in the program this year will get the experience that they signed up for, and I think more, based on what I've seen Shelley's bringing forward and you guys are bringing forward. But we also thought it was important to not have uncertainty in terms of 2021 and whether that program would go and whether it would be virtual or in person or have to be changed along the way. And so that's really where the decision for 2021 that Adams walked through came from, was the desire to make it more accessible, but also to provide certainty in terms of what the program will look like in 2021. And I think we're going to be able to do that and hopefully attract a much broader range of candidates for the program.
We did get a question. It might be a good time to take it. So please take a moment to discuss the officer participation support to attend Leadership ITE with your chapters, sections, and district boards. Oh, that was just a request, sorry.
Yeah. Particularly, I think, as Adam said, particularly I think at the district level, I think it's a great opportunity for that incoming secretary, treasurer, whatever the incoming position on the district board is, to hopefully have the district support their participation in Leadership IT. If we had that individual from each of our districts as part of our class, I think that would significantly enrich the class, and I think enrich the experience for those individuals, and they would carry that through, I think, their leadership time on the district board. And I think that's just a great way to extend the reach of Leadership ITE and the input into Leadership ITE from across all of the districts.
I did want to make sure that you all know about our new ITE membership video. I wasn't going to play it here today, but I am going to encourage you all to take a look at it. If you actually look in the materials tab here to the right, which you should have on your control panel, I actually included a number of pieces of information. So the new statement we put out on justice and equality is in there. The link to the membership video is in there. Some COVID-related information, as well as the virtual drop-ins. We just announced and put out this video, I want to say, in last week's Spotlight. It is up on our website. It's also on the membership page in the benefits area. And the nice part about it is, we've had this opportunity over the last few years to really kind of develop some new resources that talk about the benefits of ITE membership. And so now, we have, 3 or 4 really solid videos that have been put together over the last few years that really speak to what our members care most about, and certainly the benefits that ITE provides. So again, in the follow-up to this, when I send out the recording of this and some other information, I will include a link to the video that you all can also add to your website, and certainly encourage more people to join ITE. The last item here that I was going to bring up is the website administrators meeting. So that will be on June 18th, and Zach Pleasant leads that group. And there is an e-community for that group as well. So I definitely recommend you take a look at that. But the more website administrators we can get into that meeting and into that group, you know, kind of the more we can start to develop that consistent look and feel across all of the district sections and chapters. So I'm not quite sure what's going to be on the agenda. Zach and I are actually going to meet tomorrow. We're going to talk about some things. Certainly, we'll talk about that event calendar piece. We'll certainly be distributing the membership video, and we'll come up with some other items as well that we'll be looking to discuss. The second one here is the meetings planners meeting, and that one is on June 25th, and that's with Linda Pierre. And you know, I would say this one certainly probably more important than ever, since we're still in such a time where, you know, there's a lot of questions related to face-to-face meetings. I know many of you are looking to contract next year, even looking at contracts in the fall that you may have questions about. So I would definitely recommend taking part in this call. Linda has just been a wonderful resource, and on top of helping all of our districts and sections with their contract related issues. So definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah, the thing I would add to that is, you know, we're learning a lot as we've been planning this virtual annual meeting, and a lot about technology, a lot about, you know, kind of pacing of the meeting, engagement, different kinds, and we're going to learn more as we go through it. So I'm sure not everything we have planned will go exactly as we have planned, and not everything will be the success we hope it will be. I think we will have a great meeting, but we're going to learn even more as we go through it. And so I would encourage you, if you're thinking about doing virtual events, you might also, you know, talk to Linda as part of that call. So it's not just for the physical event. I think she will be able to either help you or hook you up with Zach or Colleen or one of the other staff that have been involved in working on our virtual annual meeting. And I think there's some lessons we're learning that will be of value even when we get back to being able to do in-person meetings. I think the reach that Colleen talked about earlier that you're getting and we're seeing with members who might not have been able to go to a physical meeting very often, you know, we don't want to lose that going forward. And I would encourage you as leaders to think about that 50% extra we're getting to our meetings online. How can we make sure we keep those people engaged? We'll certainly be thinking about that. And again, I would encourage you to connect with Linda and Zach for ideas on how to do that. The other thing I just wanted to mention is that we're getting ready to transition back to reopening, if you will, ITE's offices. So we've been in remote mode since early March. We expect in mid-June, here in another week or so, we're going to begin to have people back in the office. We won't have all the staff in the office. We're going to do all of the things you would expect with a very limited number of staff, and maintaining social distancing and the way we operate the office. But in preparation for the August annual meeting, where we know we're going to have a number of staff in the office to support that meeting, we want to begin to have people move back into the office, at least on a very limited basis. So should be transparent to you. You shouldn't be able to see the difference. Hopefully you haven't noticed too big of a difference with us being able to operate remotely, but I just wanted you to be aware of that. And you know, we look forward to being able to see each other at least a little bit face to face. I think, you know, we tried to adapt, as you all have, to this virtual world, but while there's some great advantages, there's also you know, some things that we certainly miss by being able to engage in person. I think that's the information, Colleen, right? We wanted to share today, and
yeah, that's kind of it. I do have a couple poll questions.
Cool.
So the first is just related to kind of where everybody else is working right now. If you all want to kind of answer that, I thought it'd be fun to see kind of where everybody else is.
Mm-hmm.
The other is if you all do have any questions, you can feel free to put those into the chat. You should see the poll. So the poll should actually pop up.
You just click on your screen, right? I clicked, yeah, I just filled it in and it said my poll has been submitted.
Let's see. So it looks like about 56% have done that one. So it looks like by and large, the majority are still working from home full time. I had one other question because I am curious, with the virtual annual meeting, how many people, especially within our district section and chapter leadership, are going to be able to attend? Because we are hoping that this does make the meeting more accessible to many of you. So I see some yeses, lots of yeses, definitely a lot of maybes, and some no's in there too.
Well, we certainly hope to see as many of you as possible as part of the meeting, and we're going to certainly have some ways to engage you as leaders in the meeting as well. So we hope to see you there.
Yeah. But that's kind of where we are. So if you are a maybe, then hopefully we can convince you in the next few weeks. So the early bird deadline is July 1st, and we're pretty excited about the overall meeting and how many people we think are going to be there.
Colleen, I don't see any other questions.
No.
Achieved our goal here and maybe left a little time over, which is always good in this environment, I think.
I think so too.
So we appreciate you all being with us today, and if there's anything we can do to help you, don't hesitate to reach out. Support for your activities, meetings. As Colleen said, the executive committee is very interested and willing to participate in board meetings at the district or section or chapter level. I'm participating in a couple of COVID related discussions as a presenter. So anything we can do to help you, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You know where to find us. Appreciate your time today. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.